Hi, Lori Blewett from Austin Community College. From an education standpoint, how can we create an environment for Gen Yers to explore their entrepreneurism?
Well, I think, as I was saying to Anastasia, there are now exponentially more programs in colleges and universities. I think there are like over 400 endowed chairs in professorships of entrepreneurship in this country now. It's sort of a six-fold increase over 10 years ago. And so I think that's happening a lot on the college level. But what I'm hearing is that more now than ever, kids are actually going into college with businesses already. I mean, kids are starting college, entrepreneurship is the new lemonade stand. Kids are starting businesses in high school. You know, I think that our schools can do a lot more to foster entrepreneurship, but I worry that we're so focused on, you know, test taking and scores that there's not enough room in our, you know, in public school systems to really sort of teach kids those skills, and I think that that's a shame. I think we have to do that because, I mean, as you were saying, that with the economy the way it is now, I mean, I think entrepreneurship is a more and more vibe. They're seeing that getting a job with a corporation is no, you know, walk in the park and doesn't guarantee them a lifetime of employment.
Well, it's interesting because I went to the Teens in Tech conference. I don't think Daniel's in the room, but that's actually where I met some of the folks who are going to be on our next panel. And there was like the big debate at that conference was whether these guys should be dropping out of college or staying in school as entrepreneurs. Like you were saying, they're going into college as entrepreneurs, and it's very hard. Being an entrepreneur is more than a full-time job.
That's true.
So I'm wondering, like, if any of the folks you spoke to struggled with that, made the decision to leave or stay.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them. I have like two guys who are in med school at Brown who are taking a leave from med school to, you know, to work on their company, which is called Shape Up the Nation. It's sort of a web-based wellness company. But I actually, on the survey that I did, I asked, you know, do you have some college, 4-year degree, 2-year degree, or advanced degree? And the majority of them had a 4-year degree or an advanced degree. So I do think that some of them are dropping out, but I think because we have this increased number of entrepreneurship programs with professors who understand that, you know, we can't wait until junior year to give these kids an entrepreneurship class. They're coming in as freshmen with businesses, and if we don't help them work on their businesses, we are going to lose them.
Question?
Hi, Shai Samet with Samet Privacy Consulting. You made a comment about Looped and how they address some privacy concerns expressed by some of their users. I think most would agree that Gen Y cares little about privacy, and I think that's evident. There have been some incidents of late that might have shifted that and made people a little bit more intelligent, but clearly, you know, given how much people share data about themselves and their profiles and their daily lives through a various number of networks and sites like Twitter, do you see that changing as Gen Y matures?
You know, I think it is changing. I mean, this is something that I talk to my own kids about constantly, how important your digital footprint is. I mean, I don't want to Google you and find, you know, things that I don't want to find. And neither does the person who may be hiring you next year. But I would say that when I interviewed the folks that I interviewed for the book, a lot of them are on my Facebook page. And of course, I stalk them a little bit on their pages, I'll admit it. And very rarely do I find anything that gives me pause. So I do think that most of my entrepreneurs in the book are in their 20s, and a couple in their very early 30s. And I think they're very careful about their digital footprint. And I think this is Don Tapscott will tell you this over and over again. It's one of the things he worries about a lot, is that kids are not as conservative as they should be. But I think that they're learning, definitely.
Well, and I'll just say that I have friends in their 30s and even things my mother posts that give me pause wall to wall, so whatever.
Over here. Hi.
Hi.
So the question that I have is, with the volunteerism and engagement that you win, I mean, so this Gen Y has such a spread. And when you're looking at that, are you seeing the early teens coming into their own right as part of this generation, having as much gusto and enthusiasm for it, and what role do their parents have to play to enable that in your survey and your results?
I'm sorry, to enable what the
The volunteerism and engagement in the community.
Oh, well, listen, I think that, I think volunteerism with this generation starts at a very early age. I mean, it starts in, I think the early teens, high school. And some of it is definitely driven by, your parents pushing you, this is going to look great on your resume, you got to do this to get into college. A lot of high schools now have a community service component. And so, but the way I look at it is, no 10-year-old wants to practice the piano every day, right? So it may be something that initially you're compelled to do, but it becomes a habit, and it becomes part of life. And what we're seeing is that, the kids may start early, and obviously they're being pushed or compelled to do this by parents and teachers, that when they leave school and when they graduate from college, it continues. So it becomes like, maybe I don't have to practice the piano, but I want to sit down and play because I love it. Same with volunteering.
Hello, Jennifer with UD on campus. You've met so many inspiring entrepreneurs. Could you maybe profile some of the personality traits you see in these people that you're meeting?
It is a good question, yeah. Wow, they're really, really optimistic. And they're very open-handed. They're very transparent. They will tell everybody what they are doing and what they want to do. It's so different from, I think, entrepreneurs of my generation where, so I won't tell anybody my idea because they'll steal it. Well, I mean, this generation's attitude is, if I don't tell everybody my idea, I'm not going to get any good feedback, and I'm not going to be able to grow my company because I can't create a tribe if nobody knows what I'm doing. So, I mean, I think they're it's sort of that collaboration issue again. They really want to draw people in. They're very optimistic. They want to change the world in some way. It sounds sort of, cliche, but I think they do. And they feel that they can do it through business. I mean, I think it's a very activist generation, but it's not activist in sort of the 60s way. It's activist in the sort of, in an entrepreneurial way. They feel that they can solve problems by starting companies, which I find very, very hopeful.
I want to thank you for giving a shout out to Omar at College Hunks, because he's at University of Miami.
Excellent.
He actually beat me in the business plan competition.
Is he a
at
hunk?
That school. Omar?
Yeah.
Omar?
I'll send you his profile pic.
Yeah, actually, I've met Omar. He's actually he's pretty hunky. I would say he's hunky.
And the guys at Ignite are awesome too. But my question is, are you seeing common pitfalls among these Gen Y entrepreneurs?
Common pitfalls.
Mistakes they make early?
Mistakes. Well, I think the sort of the big issue for this generation are issues of scale. So, I mean, they have great ideas. They're great at starting companies. They aren't always so great at creating organizations and growing companies, because some of that stuff, let's face it, nobody wants to deal with all the HR stuff and the employee handbook and the, when do I need a bigger building? So, I mean, I think that's where they can trip up. But I have to say that a lot of them, Omar included, are hiring older, more experienced CEOs, sometimes replacing themselves as CEOs, but hiring the CFOs, hiring the COOs, and hiring people to help them. And the thing is that they don't seem to have this sort of ego thing of, I have to be in charge of everything. I think they're very willing to cede responsibility to people who know more than they do. It's easier when you're young to admit that you don't know it all, right? So, but I would say that's where, when they trip up, that's where I see the most possibilities for tripping up, sort of in that growth stage.
Final question.
Hi, I'm Kate Pietrelli with Triple Point. In regards to funding, because it's really hard for a lot of startups to get off the ground these days, are they being resourceful about where they're finding their funding? Are they going to angels, VCs, their parents? Are they just bootstrapping?
All of the above.
Yeah.
All of the above. Of the ones that I surveyed, 60% said they were self-funded in some way. They are getting friends and family funding, and they're getting some venture money, and they're getting some angel money. But what I really love is hearing kids say that they really feel that there is sort of honor in bootstrapping and that being lean is a really, really good thing. When your Guy Kawasaki probably doesn't like to hear me say that, but that they feel that it imposes a particular discipline on them, and that being poor in the outset is really not such an awful thing.
Thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you.